All right. Hello and welcome to our session about understanding your customer. We're talking about market research, we're talking competitor analysis, and also knowing who your customer is. My name is Adam. I am from the Van Diemen Project, and we deliver the Digital Solutions Program in Tasmania. And we're delivering this in collaboration with our great friends at Business Tasmania, so that you can see all the great things that are available for you in Tasmania. But these series of AI events are shaped on conversations and questions that we've both had to help your business out. But today's session is really around making sure that you are focused on your marketing in a really practical way, because marketing sometimes feels like a bit of a guessing game, or you've just thought, look, I'm really good at what I'm doing, but I don't know how to get it out there. Then this is the right session for you. Now, before I kind of kick off into the introductions fully, I do want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're gathered on and pay my respects to elders past and present, and recognise that for generations upon generations, they've looked after these lands. They've also shared so much on them that we still have so much to learn from and also celebrate for. Now, in today's session, we're going to go through a couple of things. As I said, we're going to have Bronwyn here from Business Tasmania is going to run you through all of the amazing services and programs that Business Tasmania has, including their really cool new website. But just as a bit of a background from me, and would obviously love you to introduce yourselves in the chat so that we know who is on the call with us. So we'd love it if in the chat, if you can put in your name, where you're joining us from, the problem you solve for people. I want to challenge you. You don't just run a business, you solve problems for people. That's what they find value in. And the final one, I'm really keen on knowing what your biggest frustration in marketing is right now. With that said, as I've already said, my name is Adam. I am the CEO and Chief Entrepreneur of the Van Diemen Project. I also run an education social enterprise that teaches around 3,500 to 4,000 students a year across Australia how to solve the biggest problems they see in their community. I run a social impact incubator and help convene the peak body for social enterprise, because I'm really focused not just on how business is profitable, but how it's got purpose, people and planet at the core of what it does. I've got lots of different things that will come up, but I guess for today's session, I've also worked with a number of organisations through the digital marketing space, not just only in our Digital Solutions program, but being boots on the ground, helping with significant campaigns and some pretty premium Tasmanian products as well. And in all of those instances, the ability of knowing who your customer is and what else is going on is really key. That was all done at a time that AI wasn't there to supercharge what we could do. So I want to ground it in those strategies before we then move into that element from there. And so what we'll do is, obviously, for those who are on the live call, please drop your details into the chat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to join in there too. And I'm going to hand over to Bronwyn, who's going to run through a little bit of the amazing things that Business Tasmania does.
Fantastic. Thank you, Adam. I'll just get my slides up here for you all to see. There we go. All right. So as Adam said, my name's Bronwyn. I am the program manager for the Business Tasmania service, and our service is a state government run service that's available to all of you, all of our wonderful Tasmanian small business owners. And we exist to help you start and run and manage your business. We have a whole range of services available to you, including a fantastic free personalised advice service. And one of the fantastic offers we do have is a 5-day-a-week customer service line. So you can call us or send us an email at any time with any business-related question, and we'll do our best to help you work through that and point you in the right direction for the support that's available to you. And there's a whole range of government supported services that we do connect you with. We also host a range of events and workshops, just like this one that we're collaborating with Adam and his team on. We do have an event calendar on our new website, which has a range of our events and also some of our stakeholders and partners events as well listed there. So if you're interested in attending more events targeting small businesses, you can go onto there and search by your location and also topic and find an event either online or one near you. And as I mentioned, we do have a brand new website, which we're really excited about, which has really great information. It's much better structured than our previous website. So we've really tried to make it easier for you to find the information that you need when you need as well. And that includes a really great resource called a grant finder. So you can go on and search for small business grants suitable to you. I'll move on now to our Tasmanian Business Advice Service. And if you've had your ABN for 12 months or more, through this service, you can access up to 5 hours of free support. And with your free advisor, you can ask any business-related question. They are generalist advisors, but they do have a whole range of experience that you can draw upon, and also great resources and teachings as well to help you along your way. If you've had a business, or sorry, I should say an ABN for under 12 months, or you don't have an ABN yet, you can access our new business support service, which will give you up to 2 hours of free advice with an advisor each financial year. And you can ask them, how to set up your ABN, or, how to get started, how to set up your strategy, and get started. If you would like to look up the advisors that we have available, we have them listed on our website, so businessadvice.tas.gov.au. You can read the short bio about them and find the advisor that works for you. You can see someone in person in your area, or you can access them via phone, online. And if you're unsure who to see, because there are a few and they all have different strengths, so if you're confused or not sure, welcome to call our team, the Business Tasmania staff, and we'll be able to help you find the right advisor. So to sign up, the website's on the screen there, businessadvice.tas.gov.au, or you can call us and we can sign you up over the phone if you prefer. I'll just quickly mention the NILS loans. This is a no interest micro business loan scheme. Through this, you can access up to $3,000 of a loan or access to finance when you're first starting out. And there are a range of eligibility requirements for this. And I believe this slide does need to be updated. As I learnt last week, the eligibility has just changed. So I believe it's now a working income of 70,000 gross or less. So I encourage you to check the NILS website or contact our team if you're interested in that one. The next service is the Employer of Choice Assist service, and this is for those of you who are already employing staff or perhaps you're thinking of employing people in the near future. It's a fantastic service where you can access one-on-one advice that's all tailored to you, and free, with a workplace advisor. So you can ask them questions around, how do you attract new employees, making sure it's the right time to bring someone on. You can get them to help with workplace policies and procedures, and anything team related, essentially. So if you're interested in accessing that service, again, you can come through us at Business Tasmania and we'll put you in touch with the team. Similarly to Employer of Choice Assist, we have Workplace Relations Helpline service. This service is available to those of you who are currently employing staff or about to bring someone on. Through this service, you can get immediate advice over the phone, whereas the Employer of Choice Assist, you will need to wait to book an appointment. Having said that, they are usually very quick, but the Workplace Relations Helpline service, you do get that immediate advice over the phone, for those issues that can be sort of resolved quickly. So things like if you wanted to check if you're paying your staff correctly, what the correct leave entitlements are, or ask questions around Fair Work Act obligations, for example, you can contact them. Or the other thing that it could be really good for is if you need help really, really quickly, for example, if you've had a workplace conflict or something has gone wrong and you need immediate advice. To finish off, we have a page on our website that I mentioned before. That's our event calendar where you can see all of our upcoming events. But the best place that you can find out about anything new coming up at Business Tasmania and also within the small business community across Tasmania and government supported programs is our newsletter. So if you're not already on the Business Tasmania weekly newsletter, I highly encourage you to sign up because we do share some really fantastic information on there, including grant programs, new events, and new requirements potentially from the Australian or state government that are important for you to keep up on as small business owners. So highly encourage you to sign up to our newsletter. You can find us on Facebook. We've also just launched a LinkedIn. And yeah, check out our new website. And if you have any questions at all, please do give our friendly team a call. We're available Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. All right, that's it from me. I'll hand it back to you, Adam.
Definitely sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already. It is my go-to place to keep up to date with all the information that's coming through. We talk about AI as a bit of a fire hose. I feel like sometimes the updates and the things that are available for businesses, it's hard to keep on top of, but getting that newsletter through on a weekly basis is really helpful. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. All right, I'll pull my slides back up so that we can drop in here and let's keep rolling through as we go. So as I said, I really want to take you through some practical elements around this. I want to get clear on our customers. It's great to see those who have already put through some of their comments, actually knowing who your ideal customer is. Hopefully I can give you a bit of a hand with this. And obviously we've designed this whole session for people who are running your business, your boots on the ground, you're trying to get this stuff going, and we're all working this out, especially how AI supports. So I want to come through who our target customers are, what we should do to group our customers really effectively, and then how can we do some research on what is happening around us, and then obviously where AI can pop up to help us out with this, to keep us going through this, to spend more time working in our business on what we do, more than anything else. And so let's get moving with this. So I guess I really want to just set the scene right, because I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time in the strategy than you might expect. But this for me is absolutely critical. I don't believe businesses struggle because their product is wrong or their service is wrong or the design of what they do. I think I find that there are so many amazing businesses doing incredible things. The challenge is the customer doesn't fully understand it. And so it's really about, this session is about clearing up your message to communicate in a really focused way. If you aren't sure who your target customer is, their motivations, their drivers, what they really care about, your marketing could be scattered. You could be throwing things out there, and that is a waste of time and money. You don't have that time or money to waste. We're not big organizations that can kind of just, play ads throughout a football game and fingers crossed hope that we can get enough people across the line. We've got to be targeted. We've got to be focused in this way. I also find once you have clarity around who your customers are, what they're looking for, what they care about, it makes decisions easier, but also you can get a bit of a scan of where your market is to know what people are comparing you against as well. And I believe once you've got that, then so much of the marketing becomes confident and a way to drive forward, because you know what you are doing in this way to understand your customers, and it also means you shift things internally in your business. Now, I want to start with this, which sometimes breaks some people's hearts, but just because you're a really nice person, I need you to understand that not everyone will be your customer. Your business will target a specific group of people. It is really, really key that we focus on the right people, and our customers actually recognize themselves in the offering. They can still see it, they can still like it. You obviously don't want to go, hey, if you're not of my age and gender and demographic, don't read this. But it is about how do you have messaging that really clearly, effectively communicates to your audience in a place that they use it. And so it's really important to understand, first of all, that you've got to be really laser focused. It's not to stereotype, it's not to be cruel, but if we're going to spend $1, we've got to make sure that dollar in marketing goes to where our customers are most likely going to be. And the focus builds trust, because then it says, you know where I am, you know what I need. If I've seen your marketing everywhere except the spot that I expect to see it, I might be wondering what's going on. But you also need to recognize that customers will self-select. They will choose whether it's for them or not. They will engage because of that. I do see some people get really hesitant around, but I don't want to look too limited. No, you want to be focused on, I want to put my messages on the platforms that my audiences really care about. I need to be focused on this. Now, we recommend, obviously, in this process to have a couple of customer groups, but we have always come from a process of building for motivation. You might have, say, 3 to 4 groups of customers. It's not about the focus of the number. It's actually being really targeted and really specific of who is the groups that are most likely going to be my customers. Who can I get across the line? Which messages do I want to share that will engage people who are most likely going to convert? Someone who wanders in and goes, I never knew you were here before and I've never done this before. I don't need to market to them. I want to market to the people who go, oh, I should always have this in my life and I'm going to be back every week, every month. And I find the best way to do that is to start with the motivation. To start with what they are looking for, what they care about, and why they are doing business with you. Because often the motivation starts to inform the age and the life stage, or even the location as well as we go through. Tourism often has some very specific locations, but as many of us are operating our small businesses, we aren't set up to handle customers from all over Australia. It'd be really nice if they did find us, but our target audience and our focus group is probably a little bit more local. And so it's really important that we think about these things. When you start mapping out groups, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, I don't think this is just it, but I always find if your message doesn't change, don't split the groups up. Often there's some groups that become quite large. You're like, well, actually, I'm going to tell them all the same thing because that's going to engage them and get them interested because they're looking for the same sort of value offering. Then make sure they're in one group. But if they do start to go, wait, I've actually got to talk to them slightly different ways. They're looking for different things. That's where we set up different customer groups. So then we can put strategies in place to engage with those specific groups. As I said, I'm going to come back around the motivation piece, but I just want to step through 1 or 2 things about target customers first. We have a really clear process that we talk about because sometimes the way people engage is differently. Because sometimes the person who pays isn't the person who uses the service, and it changes the message. For me, children's toys is the classic thing. The purchaser pays for it. A parent is looking for something or an adult is looking for something in a children's toys. It's got to be safe. It's got to be like that. If you're talking about grandparents, it's probably got loud sounds and batteries to annoy people. At least that's what my grandparents buy for my kids. But it's that element of the box and the purchase process is for one person. The person then who opens that box is the user. And they benefit from it, and it has to engage with them too. If the sale process is all about getting the money on the shop floor, but nothing about how great the kid loves it, then it doesn't work. So you have to take both of these into account. And sometimes that separates out your marketing to a degree as well. So if you've got someone who pays for something and someone who uses it separately, obviously you need to take that into account. Some audiences, for example, I'm going to go buy a coffee for myself. I pay it and I drink it myself. I am the same person, but it's just something to think about there. A purchaser thinks about value. A purchaser is the one handing over the cash. They want to go, am I getting what I'm paying for? The user thinks of the experience. What does it feel like? What do I get out of this? And is this of benefit to me? Business owners making decisions for their staff. You're a purchaser. Your customer is your staff are the users. So it's just really important to get this right because sometimes I find people kind of pull it all in together. As well. So it's really to think about that. And one of the things that we often see, it's actually going, how do we make sure that there is an apparent value transfer in this purchaser process as well? It can be hard when people don't understand the value at the end of the day. And this is where marketing comes in because we then want to go, well, how do we give them that sense and connect with the right people for the value that we want to offer? There will be some people on this call that probably offer a premium product and customers are looking to pay Kmart level prices for that premium product. And that's really hard. But again, this is where a really tight target audience is really, really important to get right. Typically, when you go through and you explain a target customer group, we look at demographic, geographic, and behavioural factors. We look at who they are, age, gender, employment status, family status, all that stuff that we can separate in the census. We typically say our audience is between this age, and they might live in a certain place with just our geographic factor. But I find a lot of people are engaging because of their motivations and their circumstances. Their behaviours are what they like, what they're interested in, and that's something that might inform some of our approaches. It's important to have some of these things mapped out. But being really tight on your demographic, your geographic and behavioural, to me, probably over limits your messaging. And this is where I come back to motivation and circumstance. Motivation, what are they seeking seeking from you? What are they expecting to get from you is what we want to talk about. But we also put circumstance in because I'm sure for many of you, you are positively pushing towards that motivation. Here's what you need. You're hungry. I've got some amazing food for you. I've got something to drink. I've got a great experience that you need. But it's also important that sometimes customers are engaging with us, not because of a positive thing, but it's maybe something of a circumstance. I serve on the board of an organisation that provides low-cost storage, and a lot of the customers that we get, while there's people who want to be able to put their stuff in and they're moving and they're excited, there are other people who are escaping domestic violence or broken home situations, and that circumstance is a real challenge. You can't sit there and market and go, I'm so glad that you found us and have a real positive message, because that's not how we meet people in those circumstances. And if you offer something that's kind and caring, sometimes that circumstance informs your marketing message. What are customers looking to seek from you? What are they looking to get from you? Sometimes there's a referral from a third party because they need you to help them. And it's really important to understand what they're seeking, what they're getting out of it, the same way that we would look at a positive motivation, because that then starts to go, okay, this is what they are seeking from you. It's not just the physical product. It's not just the hours of time. There is some exchange in this process. So take some time to think about the motivations, maybe hook around some of the demographics and the geographic aspects, but move quickly once you've started to think of those motivations of why they are doing business with you, because that to me is really, really key. Because motivation for me defines an audience because it explains what they're seeking from you. What triggered them to look now is a question to consider. Why are they looking for you? What are they seeking from you? What are they wanting to get from you right now? Is there something that's popped up in their life that they need to go to? Something's broken. I've got to get it fixed. I've got to come here. I'm walking on the street and I'm hungry and I see your shop. Sometimes that sort of thing. Sometimes it's a planned decision. They're online, they're searching for tourism options. They're exploring, they're learning, they're on a bit of a slower journey. That's okay. We can take that into account. You can start to see how the experience is starting to be shaped through this thinking. What outcome do they want is the next question. What do they want from you? I don't think anybody comes in and goes, hey, I just want something quick and fast through this process. I don't go and get food from certain places because it's quick and it's fast. I want to be filled. I want a smile on my face, all this other stuff. You start to think of all the other things that we want as well. We want to feel good through these processes. We want to be supported. We want to be cared for. We want to be known. The outcomes also create some of those, I guess, aspects of what we can communicate through. And what do they value most to get it? So what are they getting from you and what do they care about the most? Because it's sort of thinking about what the customers value. What are they interested in? Have they got a strong social conscience and that's part of their purchase decision? Do they not have a heck of a lot of money and you're actually providing good value in what you are doing? Again, you can start to see this starts to inform the way you talk and the way you respect your customers and the services. What hesitation do they have? What's holding them back? Sometimes we'll find a lot of customers haven't engaged because they're just going, oh, I don't know if it's for me. And again, there's some messaging that we can do around it. And your message must consider all of these things. For me, motivation's really key. It's something to consider. As an example to explain, I did some work with the West Coast Wilderness Railway over 10 years ago now, but we built 4 clear target audiences based around motivation. We had one for steam enthusiasts because it's a steam train and there's train people everywhere. And you don't even have to go through this because it's a train. They love it. But if you go through the other target audiences that we worked on, we had reminiscent retirees. They're people who are probably doing grey nomad tours. They're spending the time, which means they can get to the west coast of Tasmania. But they're also jumping on a train for the memories and just to experience what it was like to come back around again. So they want to remember what it was like to be on a train and be immersed in that. And the value they get is that basically their stories have value, their experiences have value. They might be worried about what they'll get out of it and will it be new and modern, but again, we've got to show that respect and that care for history to be able to get that. Another one of our groups was curious families. We sort of expected families of kids of age 10 to 14 because it's a 4 or 8 hour train ride. So a little 5-year-old running around would go crazy in a carriage. But we start to look at it, well, what were they looking for? And we obviously name them curious families because they're looking to learn. The kids are obviously in at school. They're obviously interested in their learning. So they've triggered because they want to go, well, while we're here, we should learn some things. Let's learn a little bit about the history and the stories and what's going on in this community. What do they want to get? They want to obviously have a great time, but they want to walk away impressed and proud of history and what's gone on and what's happened there. It's an engineering marvel in itself. And so we've got to make sure that we communicate that. Obviously, what value do they value most? From our perspective, it is making sure that they get that educational content, that information that's accessible to them. It's not too high-nosed. It's not done as a university level academic, but it's one that kids can access as well. And what hesitation do they have? They don't want to be locked in a carriage with their kids for too long either. And so it's making sure they understand there's the stops along the way. Our Wilderness Explorers was the final one. I could wax lyrical about these all day, and I don't want to do that with you because I want to keep going through this. But our Wilderness Explorers were our sort of 25-plus-year-olds who were looking for that experience in the wilderness that Tasmania has got an abundance of. What triggered them to look? They were coming to Tasmania. They wanted to explore. They wanted to go beyond the Cradle Mountain and those normal stops and see something a little bit further. What did they want to get? They want to be immersed in the beautiful, stunning Tasmanian rainforest. And what do they value most? They actually value just being in completely cut off from society to a degree. They still want mobile phone reception, but they want to be in a spot that they feel like that they are the only one in the world there. And the hesitation they have is they don't probably want to be on a train. That was the hardest audience for us because we basically had to go look at the environment, but just forget there's a train there because that was that audience. Now, you can see, as I've explained it, you can probably picture the people I'm talking about, but the way that we've informed the message and the information and even the experience comes from a really clear understanding of this motivation. For me, why is a customer doing business with you? They might buy the same product, but they're looking for a different outcome. And we obviously want to engage with those who are most likely going to use our products as we go through this. All right, let me jump back in because I've obviously talked about that for a little while. What they're really buying. It is really important that customers aren't just looking for the features and the benefits and the bells and the whistles. Customers have something of need. It's the reason why in all of our calls, if you've joined them, we ask you, what is the problem you solve for your customer? Because if you are functional, you solve a problem. If I am hungry, I walk past a food spot, I get some food, I am good. You have solved the problem that my stomach is rumbling. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. That is a very functional value, but it's understanding that we are here for that. We are here to help you out. Emotional aspects as well. So how does a customer actually get that sort of relief or that confidence or that trust? And often this is a lot of knowledge sharing as well, that I believe you've got my back. You're here to help me. That's really good. And so that relief, that confidence, that trust is really, really key in that space. The social value is that reputation or that belonging. I'm connecting with a certain group for a certain reason. As I said at the start, I work a lot in the social enterprise space. They're enterprises that are started for purpose. So I've chosen to go to a cafe that has people with disabilities learning how to serve coffee to me. That is me building that understanding, and their reputation is then obviously built in that aspect. And so that's what I'm connecting to. I'm seeking to make my dollar go further. Your business then needs to match that. The motivation obviously starts to shift along them. Sometimes customers are looking for different things. Sometimes they're looking for multiple ones. But again, there's often ones that sit higher in their hierarchy. And it's really key for us to think about, okay, what are they looking for? What do they need from us? And how do we build our marketing to match that? And then you start to channel your focus on those aspects, because that to me is really key to get this right, that you understand the value that you are giving to your customers, and your marketing message then says, here is the value that we offer to you. Because for me, the motivation becomes a message tool. Because if you can answer the motivation in your website copy, in your social media posts, in your flyers, in your information, then you are engaging with your audience in a really effective way. Why are customers coming to you? Why are they choosing you? Maybe thinking about what they hesitate for, what stops them spending money with you. And maybe we've actually got to put some positive focus into overcoming that barrier to say, don't worry, we've got this, we're here to help. Here's how we do it. And it should be really focused around that. For me, I find that this is often the thing. We've very good at talking about what we do, but what our customer gets from it and what our customer experiences, often that is a hard part for us in our businesses because we know what we do inside and out. Our customers say things in such a different way to the way that we present it. And so it's really key for me. This is where AI can help a lot, but it's not to ask, oh, I need it to make sure that it says this. Can you make sure I've said it? Because again, those really closed questions, AI likes to tell you that you're doing the right thing. It's very nice like that. But in this instance, we want like hard truths because we want to make our business better. So I often sit there and I go, read this and what do you think it's communicating? I will put documents through to go, hey, I'm about to send this out to someone. What do you think their decision points are? What gives them confidence and clarity, and maybe what gives them reasons to hesitate? Just to go through and to check with some of these things. But this is where also you can get your language right. What does this type of customer look for? Have I got my language level right? Is often one of the things that we look at. It's really important to make sure that your information is accessible. And sometimes AI can be a great tool to go, hey, can you just check any of my big words and make sure they're not there anymore? And so once you get that motivation right, you know what your customers are seeking, you can start to layer in where AI can help you, can help refine your information, check that you're conveying the right thing and getting the message out there. If you aren't putting these things in there, the customer doesn't see themselves in the message. I'm looking to get this from you, but I don't think you're talking to me, so I'll go to the next one. And that's not what you want because you're ready for them. You're ready to showcase what you've got to them. If you've got a premium product and they don't see that you've got a premium product, they're going to go somewhere else. If you've got some of the best brands in the world, but they don't know that they are there, they may go somewhere else. If they don't think you're quick and you're fast, they don't see your testimonials. Again, you can start to see how this motivation piece of what do my customer need highly to engage, we've got to make sure that they are there up front. So that's a little bit about target customers, about focusing your message in that regard. I could spend heaps of time doing this, and I do love spending some time on here because I do find there's a lot of things that fall out. And again, then maybe in our question and answer at the end, you might have identified some motivations. But for me, then this starts to inform what platforms we use, the way people are searching. Even if we're going to say do a paid ad strategy, are they searching me on Google or are they trusting referrals on Facebook? That slight differentiation, once you start to think about your customers and you start to get that right, you start to define your strategy and your engagement. We've recently run some sessions with our friends at Business Tasmania around digital marketing essentials. And typically it's been how do we focus our message rather than trying to be on every single platform for this exact reason. How do we create cut through in our message to the people who need to know it most and not engaging with everybody because we think everybody should know who we are. All right, the other part that we wanted to talk about in this session is a little bit around market research. Because for me, once you've understood who your customer is, that's really great, but your business doesn't operate in a vacuum. You need to have some understanding of what else is out there, what people are looking for, what customers are choosing to do, and also maybe what's changing and what's coming over the horizon. And this comes from two parts, what your customers are doing, but also what the industry and your competitors are doing. And we need to get this right because we want to take out the guesswork. We want to be logical. We are still going to have to make decisions in our business. Please don't get me wrong on that, but we want to make evidence-informed decisions. And this is where the research can help. But I feel like it also adds nuance to things that make our businesses better. Typically, research will look at some elements like this. How many customers do we have in this space? Do we have enough customers to make a viable business? Because obviously we're not going to get 100% of the customer group to engage with us. That's unrealistic. But can we get enough to do this? And is this growing or is this shrinking? Which leads us into our trends. Are people valuing this more, valuing this less? For example, we're watching things around, let's say, carbon accounting coming in more and more because it's a requirement in financial guidelines and supplier arrangements. And so we know that's going to be a bigger trend as we move into the future. We've done the research, we've asked questions around that. But what does that mean? Well, that's what we can start to learn. And this is the thing, we're in a constantly changing world. I feel like if anyone's bought petrol recently, we know how bad it's changing. But on the other side of it, this is what's going on. AI is completely changing the way we work, and we need to keep up to date with those trends so that we can position our business to remain relevant and to function really well and drive that value towards our motivated customer. Research is also really good at understanding who our competitors are. What else is going on? Who else is out there? And again, from a search first and an AI search first perspective, asking who else is out there? What are they doing? What are you seeing in this space? So when customers are searching for certain things, what is the results that are coming up so that we can understand where we are positioned from a search perspective, from an AI search perspective, and even from a customer feedback and testimonial perspective. Obviously, then also to think about when we start thinking about market size is to start to ask questions around the values. Do people actually value what you do as we go through? Now, when we do our research, for me, there's a couple of different ways to do it. AI is fantastic in the back end to speed up the work, but I really want to make sure that you understand if we're going to research customers, we need to ask actual human customers. Don't expect AI to generate some search results because I do not know what it's going to show you and I don't want to trust it. So always primary research is going to be so valuable for customer feedback. Asking customers what they are seeing and feeling around what you're doing. If you've got 5 minutes in between making stuff, do it. One of the best surveys I've ever run has been around a coffee stand or standing in bar queues with a clipboard like this one here and just asking people a couple of questions while they're waiting to get their input. They're already waiting. They don't have much else to do. And so they'll happily answer a couple of questions. And even 2 or 3 questions of data is really helpful to understand some things. Again, longer form conversations are better. But again, trying to work out how do I engage with my customers quickly, sharply, get their feedback, get their insights, and build my business better for that. We could then put through in AI the questions that we want to write so we can make them better, make them make sense. You could say, put a prompt through that says, create a customer survey of 5 questions about why customers choose us and what they value the most. We're this type of business, we want to engage with a customer that's interested in this sort of thing. And again, you can start to see how you can refine that prompt and get a quick survey that someone could scan a QR code or fill in on a paper form. And then you could put the data into a spreadsheet and get AI to help analyze it, to synthesize it, to review it. Instead of you going through 100 or 150 line items, going through and going, give us the big, what do you notice? What are the trends? What's going on there? The secondary side of things is reports and industry data. There are so many reports out there. Governments put policy documents out there. Industry groups put information out there on a regular basis. You might not be able to see it all, but again, this is where I love AI in this space. It's just to go and find this stuff for me. What do you see? Tell me the documents. Maybe make sure I can download them so I can see them. But you can learn so much from what else is going on and what other people are throwing data out there for. Obviously, for all of the areas that I've talked about, combine both. Your customer surveys is going to be powerful for understanding your customers and what's happening in the market and potentially trends. But when we start talking about competitors, the research, the reports, the industry data is going to be really, really helpful to understand who else is out there, what they're doing in this way. The other thing, obviously, is our competitor research, which is really, really key, which is what we've sort of led into there. It is really important to understand that I'm not sitting here going, oh, you've got to go and research your competitors so you can copy them and just do the same as what they're doing. No, you've got to stand on your own 2 feet. You've got to be separate. If there is not a separate individual reason for doing business with you, I will always ask the question, why is someone spending money with you? Because again, if they've got a choice of 2 things and it's simply a coin flip, you've got a better offering than that. And so it's really focused on you understanding what you do well and then understand how does that compare to the market and to other people around you. But in this instance, it's actually about understanding what customers compare. What are they searching for when they look for you? Can we type it into an incognito Google search? Because if you search it under your own profile that manages your business, guess what? Your business is probably going to come at the top because you're the owner of that business. But that private window can be a really great way for you to put some search terms in and see what comes up and where you're placed. And again, AI might help you revise your website and some of your social media content so that you can put yourself up in those areas and position yourself really strongly where you want to be. Asking that sort of question of, here's some websites, go and review what they're positioned at and who they're talking to and what are their sort of key service offerings. Again, it's a really great way to understand what customers are seeing and what they're asking for and what they're experiencing. So many people are asking through AI platforms, I need this fixed. Where can I find this information? Who can help me with this problem? And again, so your message comes up in your areas of expertise. You obviously have some general stuff that you can do well, but where are those areas that you are world renowned for? Where are the things that you're uniquely placed for, and making sure those messages come through really clearly? Sometimes customers will search for price and for offers, and again, to be able to identify maybe 10 customer or 10 competitors and asking AI to have a look at their websites and see what prices they've got listed and any other information, because for some of us, it's actually nice to have the value built in conversation before someone signs the deal. For others, it's I see the price, I pay the money, and I feel good about it. And again, if it's a menu I can take a photo of, there's no point hiding that too hard. I'm going to be able to see it. I can take a photo of it. I can find it on your Google My Business page, put that into your website so it's really clear and customers know what they're getting. But again, is it then stressed it's a value purchase, or is it just here's the quick purchase, but I'm offering a premium price, making sure that's right. The experience and the proof points are really key. What are your customers saying about you in references and reviews that you have? Making sure that if you can pick and choose what goes on your website, you choose the ones that talk to what you do really well. You don't have to list them all. You can list the ones that speak really strongly to what you do. I work in an education organisation, so 50% of my testimonials on my website are from students, because I feel like that's really important. And so it's really clearly listed there. Those proof points then match what we care about. And again, thinking about who your customers are, maybe where they are. If you are based in a certain region, I really want some testimonials on your website that really clearly say that. One, it puts that local suburb in there, but it also says that you are known in your local community. The other thing with competitor research is you can easily go through on a website or a platform and ask, have a look at these businesses and what things aren't they doing that we do really well? And you might be able to identify some gaps in the market. And we all know that not everybody can do everything. And so sometimes they leave some gaps open that we can come in and fill really well. Again, that analysis to pull that through to help us understand that. I find this competitor research piece, because we put so much stuff up online, just like any of your competitors can do the same for you. But obviously it's about getting that message out there, and you know who your customers are, and intentionally designing to engage with the right customers. There will be some competitors who have websites that are so bland and straightforward and just simple to try and reach every single person in Tasmania or in Australia. But as we know at the start, not everyone can be a customer. So as you focus and you refine, this is going to help you stand out by understanding that context as well. Now, I got carried away and talked about AI already. So this sort of stuff for me is already sort of covered off a little bit, but just to really clarify where AI is really helpful, it will help you synthesize information faster. That's a fun word to get out. But you obviously need to still verify, and you as a human will still make the decisions for what your business needs to do. And so I find it's fantastic to be able to go through and say, who else is operating in this space? Who else could operate in this space, for example? You could say emerging competitors as well. You can review trends, go on, have a look, is this changing, is this increasing, is this decreasing? Have a look at these competitors and see what gaps they don't have and what services they're not offering from their website that we may be better at. Always ask for sources, because AI can hallucinate. We've seen this time and time again. Be very clear, have a look at these things, tell me where you found this information, maybe quote back references so I can click on them and check. Again, this critical thinking piece is absolutely key. We've always talked about how important it is, but it's even more important now, because you want to go through and check and go, yes, that's right. No, that's wrong. Oh, they've found someone, but that's like, I live in Launceston. It might be Launceston in Cornwall, not Launceston in Tasmania. That's a silly one to pull through. Again, just adding and checking is really important. At the end of the day, make sure that it is human responses over the top, human decisions that are made. And I always come back to, while from a customer perspective, you can quickly go through and search for a whole heap of stuff online. Your customer feedback is best to come from your customers themselves. I just want to really make sure that we hit the marks on where AI is, because I know I could have easily talked a lot more about strategy. AI is a tool. We have talked repeatedly through this series, if you've joined some of the series. AI is a fast junior assistant. That's the way to think of it. It's someone that augments your work. It does not automate your work. It sits alongside you as you're going through your work. It takes explicit, clear, guided direction from you. You write the prompt. You tell AI what to do. It then comes back to you, often asking more questions to clarify, to check. to do that. Just like a junior assistant comes back and goes, I've hit this point, what do I do next? It's very much in that space. But from my perspective, AI is really helpful because AI has got a whole heap of general marketing support. Now, I have written in the title of this slide, expertise in quotation marks, because an amazing marketing expert you cannot beat. You cannot beat an awesome marketing expert who knows fields and industry intuitively. But for us in our small businesses that are generalists in this space, AI can be really helpful to review our wording on our websites and make sure that we're on deck with where we're going, to double check our information, to clarify, are we talking to the right customer? We've set this motivation up. Are we doing the right thing? To also shape the surveys. Help me write 5 questions, please. I need to do it like this. Or I'm looking at emerging in this space. What sort of things should I learn about? That wrestling, that asking, that sounding board that's always really good to have. You can't always go out and find someone that can give up an hour and you spend the coffee for it. Sometimes that quick 5-minute chat in an AI platform can really help you get the clarity you need. The biggest question, ask AI what AI is saying about the field you're in. I have definitely done the search more than once. Who would you recommend in this space to do this type of work? And it comes through. Obviously, it's going to tell me where I stand. I get that. I understand that. But often to find out what other competitors are doing, it's really helpful. That incognito view in Google to see what Google's AI results put at the top of the list. Again, checking that, seeing that, the benefit of if you're doing it, then to go, okay, I want to be seen in that spot. How do you help me make sure that my content lands there? I've said it a couple of times already, so I won't go into that too much detail, but make sure that your customer research comes from actual customers. So that's one thing you can't get AI to replace. There's lots of things that AI can't replace. I heard the conversation last week. AI won't give you a hug. AI won't give you the thoughts of a real customer. It'll help you analyze what real customers say, but it is not a real customer. Someone still drives the purchase decision and types their credit card details in at the other end. And so make sure that you are engaging with customers for that. All right. Last points here before we wrap up. If you've got any questions, throw them in the chat. I'll definitely answer them. Otherwise, we will obviously have a bit of a chance to chat for those who are on the live call. For me, first things first, it is all around small actions to create momentum. AI has got so much capacity, so much it can add on. But for all of us in our businesses, we don't have the time to play with it. So choose one of these areas. Maybe list some motivation-based groups. Review my marketing and who do you think I'm trying to engage and talk to? Who can write 3 sentences at the top of my website that really clearly engages with my target customer? Making sure that it says, when I look at my website, when the customer comes in as a brand new customer, the first 3 lines on the website is something that engages, that hits home, that says, this is exactly who I'm looking for. Maybe there's an about section on your social media platforms or anything else that you can update your message really clearly. And once you've got those motivations right, can you maybe filter some of your messages? I want to send an email out to customers around this motivation. Can you double check? Does it really say that I am talking to this group? And obviously scanning your competitors is a pretty quick one. AI is doing search for us, so ask it to find competitors in this field or what is going on in this field, in this industry. In all of this, you don't need perfection. We talk a lot about momentum. Try something and see where you go with this. For me, the whole thing that I've grounded this whole process in before I wrap up is all about strategy first. Understand who your target customers are. Use AI maybe to help you understand it, but really make sure that you know who you're talking to and what your customers are seeking from you. The research gives you knowledge to reduce the risk, so be really focused and really clear. AI will accelerate the thinking and the analysis so that you have the information at your fingertips. But at the end of the day, you are the small business owner that is on this journey, that is doing all that you are doing. You are responsible at the end of the day. So use it as use AI as an input to help you achieve the strategy that you have set out. Always, if you need someone to talk to around this, there's lots of people out there to help. We've already talked a lot about the services that are available, and there's lots of obviously fee-for-service options as well that you can access to help you with this. But you are responsible at the end of the day, but this should help you create more certainty in what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. And that, for me, is all the things that I wanted to run through in terms of understanding your customer, doing market research, and some competitor analysis. If you have any questions that you want to ask, please put them in the chat. I'd love to be able to answer. While we're doing that, I will quickly say there's a couple of events that are coming up that we know. This is obviously the end of this series. We've done AI 101. We've talked about automation with AI. We've talked about business writing, and this session's about doing that research and underpinning your marketing. If you want to see more fantastic events, I'm going to go in the opposite order here. Bronwyn's already mentioned the events calendar on the Business Tasmania website. There's an events tab and you can see that. We as Digital Solutions Tasmania will have some events, hopefully, as we are still involved in some things over the coming weeks. You'll be able to see those on our Humanitics page, and you can always click follow to keep up to date with that. But we are also helping the City of Hobart with a number of in-person workshops. Tomorrow night, there's one on website optimization and SEO. So that's Tuesday night, and then Thursday night is all around paid ads for Meta and for Google. Even if you aren't in the City of Hobart, you can get to Town Hall from about 5:30 on Tuesday or Thursday nights. Those events are free if you want to come along. Obviously, there is a grant program that sits there for businesses in the City of Hobart that's well worth looking at. But the workshops are sitting there. We've helped with those. We've brought some of our mentors on, and we wanted to make sure they're free to access because we want to make sure this information is out there for businesses. With that, that is all of the content. I feel like I've used up almost all of my allocated time. I could spend heaps of time talking with this, but I just find these are the absolute fundamentals that will really help you bring some clarity to your message. I don't have any questions in the chat just yet, which is really good. I've answered one or two things we've gone through, so that's really helpful there. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the recording. Obviously, the benefit of being in these sessions live is that you can join us for a bit of a debrief and a bit of a chat and a bit more clarity. But obviously for these recordings, this will hopefully give you some of the basics to work through. So thank you for joining us on our recorded session for understanding your customer.